So Yamato Kochi, who was the walking man, actually was put into the New York City subway for a day for publicity for the film. And
Cool.
they had listed on their social medias like a time and a station, and there were five of them. And if you went to there and saw him as he was walking down, and you whispered to him, "Turn back," which was the catchphrase, he would open his briefcase and give you a prize, apparently. Hello again, everyone. It's the Fawn Pod. It's friends occasionally not disagreeing. This is Cody. I'm here with Justin and Dave this week. Justin wanted me to host because we're talking about some Japanese horror, typically my strength, not his. So he wanted me to host this one. So
I've had a rough week.
he's had well, not as rough as the guy in this. Maybe, well, actually worse. I don't know. It depends how time works, I guess.
It
So
does, yeah.
either
It
way,
felt like
we're
I was
gonna.
stuck in an endless loop.
Yeah, right. We're gonna be talking about Exit 8, which was I know I can't speak for the other hosts for sure, but I know it was like number 7 on my top 10 this year, so I was excited to watch this finally. Let's just briefly catch up with everybody here. Dave, what you been up to as of recent?
Today my plug will be for a book called The Bright Sword by Lev Grossman. So this is an author who wrote the Magician's Trilogy, which is an absolute favorite of mine. And then this time he took on Arthurian lore and created his own Arthurian story. It takes place after the death of King Arthur and the breaking of the table and kind of where do you go from here type situation. And this author is sometimes depressing to read because a lot of his stories, the twists and turns that the plot takes, feel very punishing to the characters. Things feel unfair and like they're not going to resolve in a good way. And then eventually they do, which is nice. But it took me a long time to get through this one because I kind of read a couple other books in between. But I ultimately really enjoyed The Bright Sword and I recommend it.
Nice. Justin, how about you? You sound like you have some doom and gloom for us here today.
Uh, I'm not going to bemoan the absolute shit show that my work life is. So just everything I've set up, in other podcasts, just imagine that, but like double it. Um, but in terms of like other stuff, God, where do I even start? I've been binging another show we're going to be talking about coming up in the not too terribly distant future. I did manage to get through that in like 3 days, so I'm not used
Nice.
to going through an 8 episode series that quick. But beyond that, I've been just trying to unwind where I can, digging through my Steam backlog, and I decided to try out a game called Ball X Pit, or it might just be Ball Pit. I'm not 100% sure if you
I
do
think
pronounce
it's
the
Ball
X.
X Pit. I
Okay.
think so.
Oh, so yeah, Dave's familiar.
I think it's Ball
So,
Times Pit.
I mean, oh, ball pit squared. But it is basically imagine if you took Arkanoid and made it into sort of an auto-scrolling roguelike with different types of balls that you. There's no way to say this without it sounding wrong.
No, no, you got it.
Yeah, yeah, different types of ball upgrades you can get and different characters and such. And yeah, you're just like basically you're a guy on the bottom of the screen throwing his balls towards the top of the screen against enemies that are constantly coming in a wave toward you. There are bosses, there are different levels with different gimmicks to them. It's very arcadey, very. It's not entirely mindless because you do have to kind of like gauge where you're aiming. There's like a bit of almost puzzle bobble to it too because you have to like gauge where you're throwing your balls for best effect. And but yeah, it's interesting. It's different. It's kind of a palate cleanser from a lot of the other stuff I've been playing lately. So if you like the sound of that, or you just like simple arcadey fun, Ball X Pit is definitely worth checking out, I'd say.
And if you're someone who just didn't just declare that he hates roguelikes and he'll never play another one again, and he has no taste in video games, then you'll like Ball X Pit.
Nice. It looks tempting from the photo, but don't they all? Don't they all? Arkanoid was like the one NES game I could never find. I don't know if I ever played it.
Was there
It's
an NES
much.
version of it? I didn't
Wow,
even
I
know
can't
that.
imagine that would play well.
I thought so, wasn't there?
I think of that as strictly like an arcade thing, but
Mhm.
I don't know much about it. So
You could play it with a mouse too. I had the like a version for it for my computer growing up, and it works well with a mouse. So
Cool.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe there never was an NES version.
What about you, Cody? What are you into?
Yeah, I will just briefly, as we were talking before we came on the air here, just mention I got back from a nice long our actual summer vacation this year. We went to South Dakota on a road trip, and minus the copious amounts of driving to and from the actual state. It was really good. Highlights for me probably were Devil's Tower. I'd highly recommend if you get out that far and just over the border into Wyoming. That was one I really wanted to do as a kid, and Grandpa said, "No, we're not going the extra hour and a half or whatever it was to get over to that." So I'm happy we got to go there. That was, as I mentioned on a social media post recently, probably only second to the Redwoods, like the most of a spiritual type energy I got from someplace, which was pretty
Awesome.
cool. And then the second one I'd really highlight was I was just saying, unfortunately, my family didn't make it up with me, but I hiked up Black Elk Peak in South Dakota, which apparently didn't know this, but apparently is the tallest point east of the Rockies in America. So
Oh,
it was like 7,300 feet or something like that. It was pretty far up there. It was interesting in the area in the Black Hills because you can't really tell like all these peaks around you, like they all kind of look the same-ish. And then this one, when you were on top of it, like looking out, you're like, oh no, I'm like way higher than all of the other peaks, which, you couldn't really tell from the ground. So, but fantastic vacation. And then I will also plug something that may or may not be great, but we're having fun with it. We finished up Pop Culture Jeopardy Season 2, even though we've actually not watched Season 1 on Amazon Prime. So we needed a new, like, dumb lunch show. So I was like, kids, they just redid American Gladiators. So we checked out the first two episodes of American Gladiators today on Amazon Prime. And three of the men so far have not been great, and three of the women so far have not been great, which does make for good TV because the second episode in particular had maybe like one good contestant out of the four, and the rest
oh
was
wow.
like was just a struggle to like do what they're trying to do. But every
ouch.
game we watch, I'm like, I wish we could try that for real. I wish we could try that for real. Oh, it'd be so fun. So we'll see where that goes, but enjoying that so far. All right, let's get to Exit 8. As mentioned, this was in Japan and also at Cannes Film Festival in mid 2025, but didn't get to North America here till April of 2026. The one-liner on this is a man becomes increasingly desperate when he realizes he is trapped in a subway station needing to complete a mission to get out. Director Genki Kawamura, and this has some association with Studio Toho, of course, of Godzilla fame in Japan, and Neon, of course, pops up on a lot of films today here in North America. They were the distributors here for this. Intro ratings, kind of interesting here, and you see if you can pick out which one stands out different here. IMDb has this at a 6.5, Metacritic users 6.3, Metacritic critics 7.1, Rotten Tomato users 8.2, and Rotten Tomato critics 9.2.
What?
So
How?
I'm shocked.
92% with the critics on Rotten Tomato,
Genuinely
Wow.
shocked at that.
which is
Same.
higher than Glenn Powell's shitty hit. No, it's not actually. It's lower than Hitman.
Man.
Still lower by two, but all right.
Uh,
So we'll see where we come in with that, of course, as always, when we go through this. Very small cast on this one as well. We have, I guess we'll go through and give them their due here. Kazunari Miya as the Lost Man, Yamato Kochi as the Walking Man, Naru Asanuma as the boy, Katone Hanase as the high school girl, and Nana Komatsu as the woman. That is the entire cast, although there may have been some uncredited babies.
and all the people on the subway before he gets trapped.
Okay, fair enough. Okay,
Yeah.
there's that as well. So I just want to start with this just question for you guys, which this is such a different type and idea for a movie, and I know it's based on a video game. So I'll start with that. Did anybody play the video game?
I
Yes,
have.
I have.
Okay, so you guys tell us maybe a bit about the video game, if this kind of is similar entirely. Is there something different here? Because I did not play the video game. I watched a little bit of the VR version of the video game today, which
Hmm.
is trippy.
That
Go for it, Justin.
VR actually probably would have enhanced things a bit. So the game doesn't have a story. That's the first and foremost. Like they added the story to the movie because you have to for something like this
Sure.
in order to actually make it into a feature length film. You can beat it in like if you know what to look for, you can probably beat it in like 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
But it's learning what to look for and whatnot that takes a bit of time. But even then, I think I spent Steam says I spent 2.2 hours on it from beginning to end. But basically, there's no setup, there's no preamble, there's no story, there's no reason why you're there. Otherwise, a lot of it is similar to how the movie presents itself. You're just in this looping subway tunnel, looking for things that are out of place or not out of place. And yeah, that's essentially it.
Yeah.
Anything? Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically it. The walking guy is there. Some of the posters are different, but some are the same. The like lockers and photo booth that are around a corner in the movie do not exist in the game. But otherwise, the hallway is like identical,
Oh, okay.
and some of the anomalies are the same, but
Mhm.
the movie changed the anomalies quite a bit, came up with some new ones, which I thought
Yep.
some of them were interesting. Some I wish they had taken from the game into the movie, but
Like the faces and the one surface that I'm not going to spoil.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Um, okay, so that's the game. I mean, I guess if you can, I'm the only one who hasn't played the game, I guess, but if you can kind of step back from that, like, what do you think of this as a just concept of a way to produce a film, this idea of like a looping hallway? I know we've been talking a bit about the liminal horror stuff lately with the back rooms and some other things like that. It's a really interesting concept to me, and having not played the video game, like this is kind of the in my head, because I didn't really play either of these. I might have played PT a smidge, but I come back to that one because this is like the anti-PT almost of like, did something change when I walked back into this room or didn't it change? And so half the time they're like,
Yeah.
we didn't have to
Mhm.
do anything this time. But it just as an idea, what do you think of this?
Um, so there is, I mean, in something as simple and straightforward as this, there is a lot you can do with it, and it feasibly, it just as a concept could work. Because it's a matter of low budget. That's for sure to put all this together. Small cast. It's just a matter of what you do with it all. And like I had said, there's no story to the game, so you would have to figure out a good story to attach to it. I'm not so sure the one they chose for the movie adaptation was the story that would have been best, but we'll get to that. But in general, there's nothing wrong with trying to adapt something like this to the screen, especially because there were times that playing the game was very, very frustrating. Like multiple times, I got to like exit seven of the whole loop, and
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, almost there, and then it looks like everything's fine. I go to the end, it's back to zero, and it's like because like the walking man was wearing socks this time or something like that, and
Oh,
nothing scary, just something frustrating. So I could see this actually working better as a movie potentially, simply because it can show you what to focus on, or it can like infer or imply things, and you can put it together on your own, but you don't have to be standing in a hallway for like 5 minutes checking every little thing yourself to make sure that you didn't miss, a person's face on a
hmm.
poster looking different or whatever. So honestly, I think a movie is probably the better way to go about this sort of setup.
Yeah, conceptually, I like it on paper. I have been binging some liminal space horror lately. Starting with Backrooms, there's Vivarium, there's It Ends. I'm trying to think. There's a couple other like real indie ones that I've watched that were not great, but I like the concept a lot. I do feel like it's a bit stretched to make a full movie out of this. At first, at one point in the movie, it seemed like it was going to be following like a series of characters. Like it looked like the Lost Man had kind of failed and was
Hmm.
done. And then it picked up on the Walking Man, and I was like, oh, okay, we're going to see lots of different characters go through this and what their fate ends up being. And while I was somewhat happy that they returned to the Lost Man, I ultimately thought maybe it would have been more interesting if we had seen the struggles of multiple people. I don't know. It wouldn't have bookended very well, I guess, if the Lost Man didn't finish the story the way he started it.
Well, it could have been. I don't know. I like that idea because we still don't really know what was up with the girl. Like we
Yeah,
didn't
that's
get much
true.
of her at all. The implication being that like all of these people that you run across are is everyone you run across is someone who has failed. I think is kind of like the implication here.
Yeah.
So it would have been interesting seeing like their approaches to things, like maybe what brought them there, how they screwed it up, how they got stuck forever. Um, Honestly, more so than I'm just gonna say it. Our protagonist here, the wandering man, the lost man, he wasn't really necessarily a likable character in my opinion. So it would have been nice to kind of branch out a little further in my view.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, over here, having not played the game in particular, I thought this was just such a cool, beautifully simple concept. Just like the idea of like, if I had been trapped in that situation, just the idea of like, can you find the one thing that's wrong, or is nothing wrong, and then like proceed from there, and like how simple that sounds, but like I could see people being stuck down there for days, just missing little details here and there, or overlooking things and then thinking that it was clear and going to the next level. And I guess we should mention here, if you haven't seen the movie, right? So the concept is you walk down the hallway, and if there's anything out of the ordinary or what they call an anomaly, then you're supposed to turn back around and go the other way in the hallway. But if everything looks good, you proceed forward through the hallway, and then you go through this series of, I mean, potentially 8 hallways, I guess. Um, it just sounds really fun, and like what a great way for a horror movie to really, I don't know, like put their protagonist in a situation that's like you control your own destiny here, but just don't fuck it up and restart over. Because it's most of the anomalies were not dangerous. I mean, it was just simply you found this thing or whatever as it went through. So super cool, I thought, as an idea. All right.
I, I do
Yeah.
kind of wish that, you're talking about you could get stuck in there for days. I wish we had seen that in any of the characters.
Hmm.
Like our protagonist, it's essentially a real-time movie.
Yeah, good call.
Um, and so he's really not stuck in there that long. And even though it is traumatic, it's life-changing, it would have been nice to see some kind of passage of time. I don't know if you make a montage or whatever, that kind of destroys like the continuity, the beautiful one shots that they set up. But um, I don't know. Ultimately, in terms of time alone, it doesn't seem like it was that obtrusive in his life, especially because he ends up back in the same time that he started it. It was like really nothing out of, I don't know. I don't
Hmm.
know.
But yeah, I mean, a person could feasibly starve to death, trying to find their way out, trying to find the one thing they keep missing or whatever. And
Yeah.
yeah, I do think it could have been nice to see some evidence of that. Like
Yeah.
maybe in one of the anomalies, there's like tally marks on a wall or something where it's just, indicative of how many times someone has maybe gone through that particular portion,
Or like
something.
we don't know how many times the Walking Man had gone through or how long he had been there. He seemed to be a little
Mhm.
more frail of mind at that point in terms of snapping and just running after things.
Mhm.
But maybe they could have emphasized, how long he had been down there for. Maybe he had been down there for multiple days and we just don't know at this point.
Yeah.
Or
I
maybe time works differently down there too, which is another option. Maybe you don't get hungry because time's not essentially moving. Like, I don't know.
I
That
thought
could
at
be.
one point that his inhaler was a ticking clock. Like when
Yes.
that ran out, that would be a problem. But halfway through the movie, he just stopped having asthma.
Right.
And so the message this movie is giving is if you have asthma, you are weak and you must grow strong and no longer have asthma. And then you will be a good dad. I don't
I was
fucking
gonna
know
say,
what they were
apparently
doing.
you do
That
that
was
by
like
Or
having
have
a
a
child.
kid, right? Yes.
the
Yeah.
weirdest dropped plot. I don't know why they
Especially
included the
because
asthma if he could just lose it and be
especially
fine.
because like after that half hour point or whatever, he's dealing with some stuff that's a lot more traumatic than the first few things he runs into too. Stuff that you would think would have him panic a bit and maybe
Yes.
have an asthma attack, and just nope, we apparently asthma doesn't exist because child.
He had to man up. That's why. He had to man up and be a parent at that point. But oh
uh,
goodness. All right, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, so well, let's talk about. what is happening in the meta plot of the movie here, I guess, then, because there was definitely a lot of questions. I watched this with my daughter, just the two of us. Oh, P.S. At one point, she's like, "What do you do if you have to pee while you're down there?" And I was like, "Just pee and walk the other direction. It'll be gone. Like, what's the problem, you know?"
Yeah, good point. Good point.
She's like, "Oh, okay." Um,
That's what the
so
photo booth is for.
yeah, right. There's this little boy that shows up at one point, and like, I don't know, it's weird, doubly weird because the film goes from the lost man to the walking man to the boy, and like text on screen.
Mhm.
And I will point out that it never left, like, I don't know if, to interpret this as you will with a lot of stuff in this movie, but it never left the boy's story when it went back to the Lost Man. We were still in the boy's story, unless it was going to switch the words back on that, which was also a little weird, I thought.
Mhm.
Um, so was the boy supposed to be his kid that he was going to have in the future if they didn't have an abortion?
I
See,
think so.
that's what I got out of it, but then I was trying to figure out, wait, if the boy is just there like for him to, meaning the lost man, like to
Mhm.
learn, to grow, why was the boy part of the walking man story? Why did he exist for that character too?
Right.
In my opinion,
Mhm.
it doesn't make sense unless the boy was actually trapped in there sometime in
Uh,
his future. I I
yeah.
I didn't like it.
It's the pyramid head syndrome. It's like if he is, Lost Man's kid, he should only exist for Lost Man. I agree, but if by existing for someone else, who knows? Because
We,
there's a flash back. Hard to say because time is weird, but like there's a shot
Yeah.
with a Lost Man and his ex-girlfriend because at the beginning of the film you find out they broke up at
right.
some point on a beach and with a kid, and I swear the kid looks like the boy from the Holloway, but I don't know. There's a lot that doesn't quite mesh.
And I don't know. I guess I wanted that clearer, even though I do kind of appreciate that they attempted to make some of that stuff vaguely open to interpretation with people. Like there was also a point where the lost man was kind of talking to the little boy, and he was like, "Oh, your mom's really mean when she's angry too." And like there was a couple parallels where I was like, "Wait, is this him as a kid?
Uh,
Like this is also weird." And then I thought the
oh,
walking man was him as an old man, except they were different heights, which bothered me with that theory because like you don't just gain 6 inches after you're that old. Um, but then I thought that might be the case because the Walking Man made some comment about like this is supposed to be the first day I see my son finally, and I was like, oh shit, like this is like they kept the baby, but he was not a dad in the kid's life under this scenario, and so now like they're playing all three of these to us.
Wait, didn't the lost man tell the kid that like he never knew his father?
yeah,
Yeah, I think
Do you,
so.
th do you think the walking man
Was his
is the
dad?
main is the lost man's father and like got
maybe.
stuck and that's why he never knew his son?
Ooh, he never
Oh,
made it out of exit 8.
Yeah.
possibly.
Oh
Huh.
shit, maybe. That's kind of chilling. I like that.
Okay. Now we're
Yeah.
cooking.
Now
Now
we're
that makes a little
cooking.
more sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, this has got some layers to it. It's like a good onion that you don't have to replay through 100 runs in the house. All right,
Fuck
let's move.
you. Fuck you.
Oh. Uh,
To any listener
Oh,
out there, Blueprints is an incredible game, and Cody gave up on it, which I understand, but at the same time think is a terrible mistake. The end.
I
yes,
can
yes.
agree with that.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. Also on the meta plot here, I was going to ask you guys, like, was he physically in a place? Like, did this actually happen? Was this just in his mind? Was he actually in like a different dimension? Like, I had theories that this happened like when he fell in the subway and his phone cracked, he fell down, and I was like, oh, maybe he like concussed himself and that put him in this own personal hellscape that he's in of like trying to decide what to do with his kid here. Or did it actually happen to him?
I
I
mean,
mean, if
how
he's
would he
still,
have ended up back on the train at the end
yeah,
to confront the guy who's being a jerk to the young mother,
We stood back up, is what I thought. Like he fell down, cracked his phone, and
but that was
then
after he got off the train, wasn't it?
That was when he got off one train and then he did all of this with the Exit 8 stuff and then he goes back on the train, but this time he turned at the end.
Yeah, but when
Mm,
does he crack the phone in that sequence?
He cracks it before in the first train that he's on. I think before he goes to that one, doesn't he?
I thought it was
Am I
after he
incorrect
got.
on that?
I thought
I
it was
don't
after he
remember.
got off the train and he was like going through one of the, one of the hallways or whatever,
Turnstiles?
and someone
Okay.
bumps into him. Yeah, I thought that's what it was, but
Yeah, I don't remember. I guess the question still stands like, was this a physical place you guys think he was actually in?
I mean, I think so.
Does Silent Hill exist in only your mind?
I mean, there's so many movies that you can take the literal interpretation or take it
Sure.
as a big ass
Yeah.
metaphor, and I I don't know. I suppose this works as both, but I would say leans towards this actually happened.
Mhm. Yeah, I think so too. It's a matter of um the place is a character. It is very much its own thing. How it exists in a place that you can walk into is up for debate, but I do think it was a place he actually went to and got what he, I guess, quote unquote, needed out of it, and then returned back to the real world. Call it being spirited away if you want. I know that's a big thing in like Japanese folklore and whatnot. This could be a modern interpretation of being whisked away to a tangential but different realm that you go to experience or learn something, and then you come back. If you come back, changed. I mean, that's the best interpretation I've got for it.
Yeah.
It might not exist on our plane of reality, but I think it is a place that exists.
Hmm. I was kind of mixed on that one. I didn't really know which way I felt like that really was working out. I mean, I guess partially because like how could that place exist? But I mean, this is how many movies could we say that about also?
Mhm.
That was just Justin got a smooch, so I was giving
Oh,
him a smooch
oh,
through the screen.
Oh, that's what that was.
oh,
Okay. You shouldn't
oh.
have.
Okay. Keep my eyes on you guys, I
I
guess.
was just
Okay.
getting sloppy seconds there. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
uh,
All right. Well, I did want to jump to another section here, which was, what type of movie would you classify this as? Like I kind of went into this thinking this was a horror movie. It is a type of horror, I guess, but it's not very horror-y, scary for a horror movie. Drama, I mean, I don't know what you'd classify this as. There was a scene in the trailer for this, which was the time he was walking down the hallway and that door handle opened and the door cracks. And I was like, oh shit, that part in this movie is going to be fantastic. And he looks down the room and he sees himself on the subway. And I was like, what? That's what we get? The one time a door opens in this film and that's what we get is just him looking back? Come on.
That's
you'd be
really
very
funny.
disappointed in the game because that happens and it's just darkness.
That
So
is bad.
yeah. Yeah, the game is similar in a way. It is ostensibly a horror game, just like this is ostensibly a horror movie. Not many parts of it are actually scary, except in an existential sense.
Hmm.
Like, and they should have. I honestly think they should have leaned into that more in the film adaptation. There is a different story they could have told here, and that would have emphasized the repetition, the meaninglessness of everything he's doing, and just how that all compounds and eventually can drive a person mad. I think they should have leaned more into that than what they went with. So I've got a whole
Yeah.
spiel on that, but I'll save that for the end.
Would you call this a sci-fi movie? Maybe more than horror? I don't know. It's somewhere in between, I
I could see
think.
an argument for that, I
Yeah.
guess. I mean, David's kind of time loopy a little bit here.
I love a time loop.
I know you do. Um, yeah, it's just kind of fun. I love the little touch with the Escher painting and just like the idea of the people on the subway just doing the same thing every day, back and forth, back and forth. Nobody gets off.
Mhm.
That was pretty fun. Um, okay. See what else we got here. Just wanted to briefly mention some of the sound and visuals in this one in particular. You guys mentioned like the great camera work in this, which was kind of cool. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dave, you mentioned I think the like long one. touch on that?
You broke up for a little bit there, but the long one shots. Yeah,
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that. At first, I thought the whole movie was going to be that because it starts that way. That doesn't end up being the case, of course, but what they achieved on what I'm sure was a very low budget was impressive. So even if I had problems with the script, I do think that the cinematography was really well done.
agreed. Yeah, I kept
Yeah.
looking for the like it's ostensibly like the cut because they didn't build an infinite loop of subway, right? So it's like they're going up and down the same hallway, and I'm like, where is the cut that they're doing here? It's good. What were you gonna say,
Mhm.
Justin?
But yeah, agreed. The cinematography is one of the strongest points of this film. Like the use of lighting, the handful of times that it does change, is very well done. It's often coming from like around a corner, it foreshadowing something different, or if the lights go out or start flickering or whatnot. It's just yeah, for being a place that is essentially just bare white walls,
Hmm.
they do a lot to make it feel varied and unique for some of the walkthroughs, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, totally agree. Just the hallways, I guess, as there were a couple of them. They had their own vibe. So every time something changed, like it was very easy to pick up on that. Like you're mentioning, whether it was what I put here, like the darkness, and that came obviously that was a big one, but like the lighting changes, or even like the lights being in different positions cast
Mhm.
different light upon the hallways, and they were all crazy. P.S. How do you walk down a hallway and not realize there's like 400 lights that are all angular on the ceiling and be like,
Yes,
this looks the same?
agreed, agreed.
Yeah.
But
uh you just completely
posters,
missed one of the easiest anomalies to find.
yeah, right. The eyes on the posters, that was kind of cool, or different things like that was kind of fun. And then the sound, I have to ask, how did you guys watch this in terms of sound and if and or any captions?
I watched it, streaming, so just through the sound system on my TVs, which isn't anything fancy.
I mean, did you dubbed
Sub,
or subbed or
Subbed. It
just
was
pure
always
yeah,
sub,
Japanese?
always
it was in
subbed.
yeah,
Yeah,
subbed. Yeah.
Japanese with American or actually American English subtitles?
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you guys also picked up, that's how I watched it too. So you guys picked up on the like every time that one like chime or clang or whatever it was would come on the screen, they'd be like bro lo lo clang, and I was like, oh, there it is again.
Mm,
It was pretty funny. Every time you came around that corner, they'd make that same noise in the movie, and then they
mm.
had the song Bolero playing in the background, which has a drum track that repeats 169 times through the song. As they were playing that during the movie, I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool!" Like they just have this looping thing going all over, and I love it.
Mhm.
Sweet. All right. Well, I have little trivia here and just a cut scene to talk about on my end. And unless
Mm.
anybody else has anything else they want to chat about that I didn't cover here, I can bring those up. If not,
Yeah, talk about it.
all right.
Yeah, go for
Well,
it.
you may have known this. I didn't know this. So Yamato Kochi, who was the walking man, actually was put into the New York City subway for a day for publicity for the film. And they
Cool.
had listed on their social medias like a time and a station, and there were five of them. And if you went to there and saw him as he was walking down, and you whispered to him, "Turn back," which was the catchphrase, he would open his briefcase and give you a prize. Apparently, I don't know what the prize
Whoa.
Oh,
was. I
wow.
couldn't find it, but looks pretty cool. He had like a picture of him on a plane, and like in the makeup, like flying to America to go do that. And I was like, that's
That's
pretty awesome.
That's
that's
for
in,
fun. That's fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love that companies will still do something like that on occasion. That's
Right.
really cool.
I can't imagine they made money off of that, but it was still pretty cool. So, okay, and then last thing here, and this was just from Wikipedia, but it says there is a cut scene. Genki Kawamura wrote the novelization of the movie as well, and he talks about in there that he cut a scene before they showed it at Cannes Film Festival. He thought it was too scary to show. Among the parts of the scenes that were cut and reserved for a possible director's cut version were the backstory of the walking man, how the lost man could become a walking man, the reason the photo booth was in the movie, the pile of discarded items, there was a homeless man, And there was also an interview where he later said the lost man looks through the images on the photos in the photo dispenser at the booth, and the subject's face gets distorted a bit more after each set of photos comes out. The subject was him becoming the walking man.
I
Kawamura
feel
said,
like ugh, I feel like all of that could have been included.
Yeah,
Like we didn't need this guy meticulously checking each poster for 5 minutes. Like you're not short on time here.
yeah.
right.
They're like, oh my God. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry. I'm mad.
Yeah, I mean, some of that actually sounded interesting, and I don't. There was nothing about that that seemed, oh my God, too scary for audiences. LOL. It's
Yeah,
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 really.
yeah. It says Kawamura felt that making the Lost Man face the dreary reality of his repetitive, boring life was just as terrifying as facing supernatural terrors. I kind of agree with you guys. I would have liked to seen this get amped up more and
Yes.
go crazy. Like they could have went all sorts of cosmic horror, weird shit, and bumping the dark type stuff here.
In the game, there are a couple different anomalies that involve um, the shape of a person made out of the tiles up against the
Yes.
tiles, and
Oh,
I was legitimately freaked out by that anomaly, and I really wish that they would have included that because that would have been scary as fuck if he's just like walking and then suddenly there's somebody like made out of the tile who's like after him or I don't know.
Mhm.
Um,
Or he like
I
turns around and there's another one behind him, and suddenly they're like, just even if they're not actively threatening him, just all of a sudden for them being surrounding him. I mean that. Yeah, that's
yeah,
freaky as hell. Yeah.
that would have been great.
were
You know,
the tile people like on the wall or in the hallway?
on the wall,
Oh,
Yeah.
up
that's
against the
awesome.
wall. And I never like approached one to see what it did. Oh, that's
Same.
another thing too. Sorry. In the game,
Yeah.
you see an anomaly, you turn around.
Yeah.
In the movie, he sees an anomaly, he's like, huh, let's investigate this anomaly. Let's go take a look. Like,
Forget the
especially
rules.
when the tidal wave comes, he had like 5 minutes to get the fuck out of there.
Thank you.
And he didn't.
Thank
He's just
you.
like, let's stay and check this out. No, you turn around. And I know it
Exactly.
would have made for a far less interesting movie, but it coming off of the game and then watching the movie is like very frustrating to watch this guy not optimize gameplay. As it, you know?
Right.
No, I
Yeah.
mean,
Uh,
you're not wrong. There were some parts like that that pissed me off too, where I was just like, clearly something's wrong. Turn around and leave.
yeah.
If anything's
Yeah.
different, turn around and leave. And he's like, oh.
Yeah.
And I think my daughter asked that too. She's like, well, how come he hasn't lost at this run? I'm like, I guess you have to like go past that line down there or this line down here, and anything in the middle is like fair game to do whatever with, I guess. I don't know. So
Yeah, that was also just going back to the game for a sec. I took the rules when I first read them very literally, where it's like if you see an anomaly, immediately turn back. If you don't see an anomaly, don't turn back. So I thought if you turned around to
I
examine
thought the
something
same
behind
thing.
you, yeah, that it would automatically cost you the loop that part of the loop if there was nothing there. So I kept getting reset because I didn't realize there was like stuff written on the back of the concourse, sign on the ceiling and that sort of thing because I thought if I turned around it would be an automatic fail state. So,
I
um,
thought you had to face forward and I thought you had to be moving at all times. So I
mm,
would like slow down, but I would
oh
be
wow.
moving. And turns
yep.
out I didn't need to do any of that.
I also there on the floor in the game there was a thing that said keep left. I always tried to stay on the left side of the hallway in case that was important. So, so in a way, I can sympathize with the main character in the movie misinterpreting some things here and there, but only to a point.
Making the game way harder than it needed to be.
Right.
I love it.
Uh,
I love it. So who do you think that girl was that was down there, PS?
I really don't know, especially considering the underlying themes of the movie and why people seem to get stuck there. It raises a lot of questions. She really doesn't seem like she belongs trapped in this loop.
Right.
Uh, but again, that's kind of getting into my final thoughts here.
Like we could
Um,
theoretically kind of tie the other four together maybe with some of our scenarios here, but she seems to be the outlier.
yeah,
Also, and was the anomaly that turned through the hall? Or was that a real person? Like the boy was real,
I
I guess. So,
I think she was an anomaly the entire time and just took a while to reveal herself, I
It'll be in
guess.
the director's cut.
Yeah.
Right.
It's one of the deleted scenes that would have made the movie better, but they decided not to include.
Oh, right,
Mhm.
because then she like she started like her head went down and she started talking in a weird voice, and then it turns into his voice. So she
And
had,
looping the same thing that she
yeah,
was saying
she
over.
had
Yeah,
to be an
yeah,
anomaly. I forgot about that part, but
yeah. Mhm.
um, yeah, I do like the idea of like if you fail though, then you become like the next walking man for the next person that's in this place for whatever
Mhm.
reason they're in this place for. It's kind of neat, but
Mhm.
okay, that's all I got. You guys got anything else over on your end?
Aside from the big long spiel, no, no, not really.
I just want to say that I dislike the trope in movies when the kid is like smart, like you should listen to the kid, but and if you don't listen to the kid, you'll fail, but if you listen to the kid, then you're good, then you'll succeed. And like, it's just annoying,
Yeah.
especially later when you find out the kid can talk. It's like, don't just
Yes.
stand there and point.
He
Use
didn't
your
even point for a
words, you
lot of it. He
little
was just like
brat.
staring at at a wall at one point. It's like he could have at least pointed at the doorknob in the center of the door.
Yes,
He got the
exactly.
walking man killed because he could have spoken up, he could have pointed, he could have done something to say, "Hey, maybe you should look at this. I don't think it's normal."
Well,
Instead,
if
he's
you
just
don't
like,
notice the doorknob in the middle of the fucking door, then it's your own fault. Like
but
that's
still.
Dave believes in
Or hey,
survival of the fittest, even in Exit 8.
or hey, oh, there's stairs there, sure, but it's only loop two. This isn't the when you're supposed to exit. He could have said something.
yes. Yes.
Ah.
Use your words, child.
See that's a spot where I actually thought watching the film like it would have been they'd had to give us more again, but that would have been cool if we had found out that the boy had been down there for like weeks and months with different people and like he knew all of the anomalies because he had been down there so long and he'd seen all these people die and so now he's just like doorknob, light switch, poster. As to the
Ah,
point where I was like, even looked at my daughter and I was like, this guy just needs to just let the kid guide him through these rooms. Like, all you gotta do is follow this kid.
Absolutely.
But
right.
also, if the kid
Absolutely.
knows everything, like, why is the kid not out if he can get out? I don't know. It's also weird.
Yeah. Ah,
Yes, it's frustrating.
it is.
And also, they lingered on that last shot of him on the train a bit too long. I was like, he's not gonna go down and do something again?
I agree. I
Mhm.
Oh,
agree. He
Well, they had.
for someone who had like grown and changed, he really
Mhm.
let that guy berate that woman for a long time.
yeah.
And yeah, a part of that is like the Japanese culture of not wanting to get involved in other people's arguments and that sort of thing. But still,
But
yeah.
also, I was like, also the Japanese culture of like, that train is going to be so packed, he'll never get down to that lady. So good luck.
Also, with the Japanese fertility rate these days, I think they're pushing movies that are like, become a parent. Don't abort your child.
Yeah,
Oh, you're saying like most
it's
of
a
my
great
talking
point.
points
Oh,
before I see that
sorry,
big long
sorry. I
spiel.
didn't
No, no,
mean to
please,
steal
please
your
do. I'm glad I'm
thunder.
not the only one who feels this way.
Wow, that's a really good point. Yeah, it's a
Uh,
really good point. All right. Well, shall we do some final ratings then? See where we come in on this.
Let's do it.
sure.
Anybody want to go first, or would you like me to go first?
Do you want me to get all the
I'm
all
gonna
the
make
stuff?
Justin go first. Yeah, I want to
Okay.
hear this rant.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, Dave, has inadvertently hinted at various points that really stuck in my craw with this movie, and especially like the last thing you said about how it seems like a lot of their entertainment seems to be Japanese entertainment recently seems to be pushing for go ahead, have kids, they'll solve all your problems because their fertility rate is in the toilet. I get that, but I don't. There's a point beyond which you can have a message in a movie, sure, but you get to a certain point where it becomes almost propaganda, and that's what this felt like. Because
Hmm.
again, this came from a game that had no story whatsoever. They could have attached anything to it to flesh it out, make it into a full movie. I thought they were going to go the route of how everyday life is can be soul crushing. If you're in a job you hate, if you're just if nothing ever changes, if you just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again.
You took
Uh,
that way? That's shocking.
well, that's
You
where
you you took this as a message to you're mad that the movie is telling you to become a parent when you never want to be a parent, which by the way is a decision that I 100% respect,
Thank
but
you.
I think it's funny that you're like,
But
no, this was a bullshit message.
well, it's just a matter of it's like it's a message that didn't belong with the source material. It's like if you
Yeah, I
took
agree.
I don't know, Tetris. If they made a movie out of Tetris, and it's 30 minutes of falling blocks, and all of a sudden the camera pans out, and the blocks aren't just forming, they're not just in like a basin, they're forming a giant cross because God is great. It's like if they added that if they added that message to something that has no story, it's there, and that it just felt unnecessary. It felt shoehorned in, and it seems to be like they're doing this a lot with pop culture, and it's starting to become a bit unwelcome. Like the first example I can think of this is Catherine, which is not a bad game by any means, and it's built around the idea that the main character might be responsible for a child. He doesn't know if he wants to be, but the whole game is built around that, and you can make choices throughout the game that steer you one way or another. But the game really tries to like shame you into picking the good ending of sticking with your current girlfriend, having the kid, becoming a father, yeah, et cetera, and so on. Because when it first came out, there was a thing where every choice you made, it was like share it online and see how other people voted. So it's like, do I really want to say the non societally accepted choice and run the risk of looking like an asshole online in a verifiable poll? I mean, that was the first example I could think of this, but there's others. There's like Spy Family, which is not a bad manga or anime, but it's very much a spy and an assassin team up for circumstances, because they each have a job to do, and they need to appear as a family. So they adopt, quote unquote, adopt a little girl who happens to be a psychic, but that's neither here nor there. But as the story goes on, it really does seem like it's them realizing that maybe this is what they want in the end, instead of like doing important jobs for the government or whatever. It's just there's this constant push um towards trying to get people to maybe just you know ignore the fact that the Japanese work culture is soul crushing, and that it doesn't really leave time for people to become parents, and it just ignore all the societal stuff that is preventing people from maybe wanting to settle down, wanting to have kids, wanting to do all that, and it's just basically saying, jump in, do it, and everything will work out fine. Your asthma will be cured, and you'll suddenly find meaning in life, and that's just, I'm sorry, that's a bullshit message. A, not everyone wants to be a parent. B, sometimes you don't want to be a parent right now.
Yeah.
And jumping into that when you're not ready is not doing anyone any favors. I speak from experience, not in the way that you think. Um, and it's if you think that bringing another human being into a failing relationship, or just an unsatisfying work life, or an existence that feels meaningless to you, if you think creating another person and bringing them into that is going to solve your problems, it won't. It's going to probably just make you more miserable, and it's definitely going to make the life of the person that you brought in as a fixer upper, it's going to make their life miserable too. So I just vehemently dislike the underlying message they decided to tack on to the movie adaptation of this. So
I'm going to
again,
guess you haven't run into the lake with your shoes on then. Is that true?
I mean, I I dragged a canoe out of a river with my shoes on because you gave me two Mai Tais in cans.
Yes, you
Um,
did. You didn't make it out of the river either, but that's neither here nor there.
but either way, it's a matter of they could have picked any message. They could have picked better messages than this. And I feel that deciding to use this as a vehicle for trying to prop up their flailing birth rate just cheapens the entire experience. I am going. There are parts of this movie that were well shot, well staged and whatnot, but honestly, I'm just going to take a cue from Steam, and I spent 2.2 hours on the game. That's the rating I'm going to give the movie, 2.2.
Just now, I was making a joke about like the child, the birth rate crisis. I don't think this was like a government sponsored script that they
I
put
don't, I don't,
together.
I don't think it was either, but there is. I could list off a bunch of different other like pop culture things that have tried to work this in. It's not even touching on the porn.
Okay.
Don't get me
Okay.
started on like the weird shift that's happened in Japanese porn in the past 10 years. So.
I
Good
would
time
I would not poke that bear. Don't worry.
with any tentacle. And if you want to poke a bear with your tentacle,
You're
um,
probably gonna die.
I have to say, as a social studies teacher who has a entire unit on population that I teach now, I did not put that together either with the declining birth rates. I just took it as more of like universal abortion, keep the baby or not type thing. So it's interesting. It's interesting, this whole thing. Well, I'll go next. Dave can go last then. How about that?
Yeah, sure. Sure, sure.
I enjoyed a lot about the film. It sadly did not live up to the full expectations of what I had for this going into it. I think it's a really cool concept. I don't know how they could feasibly, like, as soon as, of course, because it's me, when I was watching this, I was like, how can I do this for a Halloween party where you just keep going into the same room and I've changed one thing or not? That's great for the budget. How would that work, though? But, um, yeah, I wanted a little more horror, a little more like threats. I mean, there was like the time the walking man was like behind him. I don't even think he was like aggressive or anything, though, was he? He was like just behind him and smiling, which
And he
Yeah.
followed along if when he turned around, but that's it.
yeah, I think with the way they shot the trailer, like even he seemed like he was going to get violence or something at one point, and I was like, oh man, he's no nothing. Which is unfortunate too, because then after a while, like the actual characters, the boy and the lost man, also kind of like start to ignore him as he's just walking by every turn. It's like, man, door, vent, man, door.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, which I don't know, I just felt like they could have done more. I do like a little bit of the ambiguity in terms of like who's the boy and how does he fit in, but I also don't understand the world rules of like why the boy is there or how he gets out, if at all, because he wasn't on the train. So was he still in there at the end? I don't really know. Or maybe, yeah, but he was with the walking man. That's the weird part. I was like, maybe the guy just imagined the boy the whole time or something, but couldn't have been. So
Nope.
I don't know. All right, more I talk about this, the more flaws I think I have. It did look pretty. I still enjoy the concept a lot though. Like if somebody could set this up, I would have fun like walking down the hallway over and over, just trying to see if I could figure out what's different. I'd be terrible at it. I know that ahead of time. I'd die down there, but it'd be fun.
Well, you should
Let's
play the
see.
game. That's what
It's
Let's
only
see.
like $3 or something.
Is
want
it
that
is it
experience? Play the game.
is it always random when you play the game?
Yeah, I
It's
think
like
so.
is it a true 50-50, whether it's anomaly or something has stayed the
Could
same?
couldn't tell you, but probably
Could I just keep
something
making
Yeah.
something
runs and
roughly
hope
about
for
that.
the like magic turn of 8 turns in a row without? Either way, yeah, I did have fun with this, but didn't live up to my expectations. I'll just go 6.0 for me over here.
All right. I I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the little moment of realization of what will succeed in the game. You see an anomaly, you turn around, you don't. So it's a spot the differences game, but with a little bit of like a freaky twist to it. It got my youngest daughter to be like, "I'm out," because I had kind of recruited her to help me spot the differences, and she's like, "Nope, nope, I'm too scary." And then my
Oh,
oldest
really?
daughter was like, invested. She's like, "Yeah, let's do this. We can figure it out." And so the game was fun. I think if I had gone into the movie not knowing that that was the concept, I would have enjoyed the movie more. Just to have that little moment of like realization of what was going on instead of just going in already knowing exactly what was happening. Um, I think that it was a good idea to adapt this story, this concept into a movie. I don't think the way they did it was executed all that well. Um, it felt like it needed to either be shorter, like a short film, or denser. And it's very frustrating to hear about those extra concepts that could have been as part of the director's cut, because I do feel like the film needed to be denser. It needed to have more to it. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. I guess for me, numerically, to sum it all up, I'm gonna go with like a 3.1. I don't know. It's no, you know what? Fuck that. I'm lowering it. I'm lowering it even more. I'm gonna say 2.6, which it's basically
Jesus.
just out of all the, I know it's a bloodbath out here. Um, I told you since the back rooms, I've been watching a lot of liminal horror. I've basically been catching up on horror as a whole because I am normally a horror wimp and I have
Yeah.
not been watching horror movies for like 10 years. And now I'm kind of catching up on the greats that I've missed in the
Hmm.
last 10 years. And
Nice.
so it's completely unfair to this film because I'm watching other like really excellent films. And then this one definitely pales in comparison. So that's one reason it's getting such a low score. But that said, I stand by it. I think if the concept is interesting to you, you should watch it, enjoy it. If the game sounds fun, play the game. It's cheap, it's quick, it's enjoyable. I just, what they adapted into the movie isn't what I would have adapted, what I wanted as a viewer. And yeah, so for that reason, it's a pretty low score for me.
It could have really taken this exact same film and just ramped up the like scare factor, horror factor, psychological violence, even if they wanted to. I know it's been done in a lot of horror movies, especially as of recent, but what if this had started with like somebody else down in the tunnel who like fucked up on exit 6 or 7 or something and just like either something really bad happened or they went insane or something, I don't know. But
Yeah,
I mean
as
it
like a
did it
prologue, kind of
yeah,
show that
like an
that
intro
story.
and then they start his story and then they kind of go into that or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know, could you die? Could you die down there or could you only make wrong decisions down there?
I mean,
I just don't know.
again, you'd starve eventually.
If time is moving, yes.
Yeah. Or I guess you could
I
have let
mean,
the rat things eat you.
Oh, that's well, yeah, I don't know what happened. Like the flood came through and like the boy was okay, and then where was the
yeah, the
guy
Lost
at?
Man like should have died there, but instead
Yeah.
he got warped to the exit.
You found a
I
warp
don't
zone.
know.
Yeah, something weird going on there. But anyway. Well, all right, well, that's a rousing 3.6 average, taking home our Fondy this year for worst reviewed prop. No, maybe.
I
We'll
wonder if
see.
that
Possibly.
is that the lowest uh,
Ooh.
uh total score for anything we've ever reviewed on this pod?
Ooh.
I
Forever?
I'd be interested to know because I could see it.
Oh,
How often
snap.
do we talk about something that we dislike? It doesn't
Yeah.
happen very often, and so I wonder
Yeah.
if maybe this is the lowest. I don't know. I don't know what kind of records you keep, Cody, but I'd be
Oh, we
curious
got
to
all
know.
the records. What did we just say this got?
You just said
3.6?
3.6, I
Yeah.
think.
Well, I'd have to dig deeper, but I can tell you that last year's Fondy for most disappointing went to Maxine with a 3.65. So this is lower than
Oh
that.
shit.
Oh.
And it says our two previous winners before that were Roadhouse and Secret Invasion. I think
Oh, I
Oh,
forgot
I,
I
about
bet
Secret
Secret
Invasion.
Invasion. I bet Secret Invasion has this beat. Yeah, that was an absolute shit show.
Ugh.
I'm sure.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
I think
Okay.
Roadhouse was a total trash fire, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. Oh, Secret Invasion on the spreadsheet says 4.125.
Oh wow, okay. There's a Roadhouse. Roadhouse was a 3.88. This might be the lowest ever.
Oh yeah, we did
Oh.
it. This was better than Secret Invasion. Let me clarify.
Yeah, true.
This was definitely better than Secret Invasion.
It
I
was
didn't see
shorter at least.
Roadhouse. I don't know about that one.
Absolutely true. This is better than that. But all right, well, that does us, I believe. So that's been Exit 8 review. Um, yeah, so that's Justin and that's Dave, and I'm Cody. We got some more episodes coming up for you here this summer, including The Burrows we're going to take a look at. We're going to be checking out the new Spider-Man Brand New Day. And then I think we're going to do a 75-minute analysis of the minute and a half trailer for Avengers Doomsday as well. That part's not true. And we'll be back with our top 5 video games, counting down our favorites for our summer countdown as well. So until
All
next
right.
time, we will see you all later.
Take
Thanks,
care.
everyone. Bye bye.